Hello everyone, here we are with episode 29, Road to Superbowl Season 2, your hopefully soon to be one of the most favorite podcasts, our show that will help you prepare and get an opinion about every single team in NFL towards the new season. We are heading for the finals, there are going to be 3 teams left. I'm not sure if I will be able to make it before the first game of the season, but before first Sunday, all of the 32 episodes should be out there. Hopefully I can make it sooner. I apologize for that, it's mostly due to some health issues that I've been struggling with, so sorry for that. But today, here we are to talk about San Francisco 49ers. And I want to start the conversation about them with Kyle Shanahan. Because as you can see from this picture, the question is, can 49ers finally reach the top of the mountain? Can they win a Super Bowl? And then the question kind of doubles up with Kyle Shanahan because he's been in 3 Super Bowls. He lost all of them. One as an offensive coordinator for the Falcons, twice as a head coach here with the 49ers. And the thing is, you might say that this was like the most normal way to lose a Super Bowl. Like 2 great teams going back and forth. And it doesn't feel like they blew the game, right? It's not 28-3 with the Falcons. It's not 20-10, 8 minutes into fourth quarter, the first time they've met Chiefs in the Super Bowl a couple of years back. But there's one situation that just raises a concern for me about Kyle Shanahan. And it's Kyle Juszczyk talk on the sideline about not knowing the rules for the overtime. And it was the first time that this rule was applied. Essentially what it means, even if you score a touchdown in your first possession as a team that starts on ball in overtime, you didn't want the game. Like, it's just the rule for the playoffs as of right now, but the other team will get the ball and can score the touchdown and the game continues. As the rules that was introduced for last season, but still, the fact that they seem not to be prepared for that, or unaware, or somehow they didn't propagate this message. Like, unless it's like somehow really weird editing and Kyle's words were like taken out of the context, it really seems like they were not prepared. And the contrast is, on the other side, we can see Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid discussing the overtime rules and being genuinely shocked that 49ers choose to start with offense, because it probably is the worst option out of these two, under those new rules. And I'm not saying that this is what lost them the Super Bowl. But how the hell are you not prepared for this? Because there is about 6%, 7% chance that the overtime is going to happen. And when you face Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Steve Spagnuolo, this Chiefs team, you cannot give them an extra inch, just because you did not prepare for a situation that you can prepare for. You cannot prepare for some crazy shit that Andy Reid and Travis Kelce draw up because, they have a twisted mind, Patrick Mahomes back behind the back, but you cannot prepare for that, right? Like, if that wins the Super Bowl, okay, but this is something that is absolutely clear, like, this is new rules, this is how they work, this is probably what's better, let's analyze, correct the numbers, let's see what happens for us. Perhaps it's going to be really close to 50-50, then we will choose to do it, what's better, like in the flow of the game, let's go with that. But to not be ready for it, or to not propagate it to the team, like, what is it? Like, there is so many people in the staff, like, how are you not prepared? Is it like hubris that you think like, well, we are good enough to win in regular, so we don't kind of need that? Is it they forget, or they feel there's such a low chance that we don't have to focus on that? Like, I'm not saying it should be like your mantra, it should be the only thing that you can say, but it's something that should have been figured out and should be absolutely clear. This is what we are doing, this is the game plan, this is why. And there's literally like 3 sentences that needs to be said about this, and that's it, like nothing else. But you need to be prepared. And the fact that it seems like they weren't, that's just a concern to me. So, can Kyle and 49ers finally reach the mountain top? Let's find out and deep dive into their roster and their draft, okay? So, it's been around 60 hours since Ricky Pearsall has been shot. Fortunately, he is good. Thank God. There was an attempted robbery, and attacker assaulted him with a shooting weapon. and he got shot. Fortunately, he appears to be okay. He's going to miss some time on the field, but it's not even a season-ending injury, but that's kind of not the case. Like, the great thing is, like, he is alive, he's freaking good. Like, there is no, like, there should not be any long-term consequences of this. So finally, like, one good news in terms of bad news. Like, we've seen so many fucked up shit in this off-season, not only with NFL. One of the reasons why I'm slightly behind in my schedule is news about Johnny Gaudreau and his brother. That for me as a CBJ fan, or like overall like a fan of American sports, it just struck me hard. Like, it's really like, after I've read the news, I had to lay down for like 2 hours because I was like, fuck, man, what? Yeah, so it really kind of drained me for one day towards like energy for talking. I needed to occupy my mind with something else. So I'm like glad that, even though something should happen, it feels like Ricky is going to be absolutely okay. So with that being said, I can really talk about how I like him as a pick. To me, this feels like a reach. I thought of him as like 45 to 50 or 40 to 50, that range. So 41 is obviously too soon for him, in my opinion. And as well, it's like he felt like, well, we are preparing to lose Brandon Ayuk, and then all Brandon Ayuk off-season drama happened, or like were set to happen. And as of right now, they have Brandon Ayuk, they have Debo, they have Juwan Jennings, and like, what is the trajectory for Ricky Pearsall? Because they kind of have Debo and Brandon for some years from now, and Juwan Jennings, like, yeah, he might not be exceptional, but he's kind of a necessity for this offense because of what he does in terms of physicality, in terms of like he is a crucial part of the offense. So like, what is the future for Ricky Pearsall that you've kind of invested heavily? So as of right now, it feels like even worse of a pick, not necessarily because of Ricky, or definitely not because what kind of situation happened to him, but like, how is he going to get involved in this offense? We will see, but I am not super certain. Then another pick, like in Ronaldo Green, here it's like pretty much everyone bashed it. I'm like slightly higher on this because I like the fit. I think he doesn't necessarily have like a super high upside that you could still be looking for with the 64 pick, but I think he can step up and kind of play immediately as good backup to decent starter. And when I look at the window that San Francisco has, I would say, well, yeah, they kind of need players right now rather than 2 years, 3 years down the stretch, because at that point of the time, well, yeah, they will need those players for sure, but the case is like, in those years, they are most likely not Super Bowl contenders. Now they are. Let's optimize this window. So I like it for what it is. Really nice backup piece for right now, who is actually listed even as a starting nickelback for them as of right now. So I'm still, I think this is a reach. I had him around 100, so because of that, I had to go lower with this grade. But definitely higher than I would say the general opinion was on him. Then Dominic Puni, again, I am higher on this than I think general public is, and it has pretty much the same situation with Bernard Gear. Only thing is, this to me felt adequate or even slightly valuable in terms of like, I had him about 75, so it's not necessarily like a huge value, but this definitely is not reached. This is about the time that he was supposed to be picked. And he kind of, again, has a nice floor that he can play as of right now, and they kind of need it too. So yeah, they know, well, this is probably our last year that we are really in like top of our window. It's probably going to go downhill with some money that we push down the line, some rookies that we need to pay. So yeah, I definitely like Dominic Puni and the fit here. Then Malik Mustafa. This is kind of a pick that to me feels like, well, now we are in the 4th and 5th round. It's going to be hard to find players that will contribute immediately. So let's now try to pick the best guys that are on the board, and sorry, it's cats and their hairs, or like whatever we call it, something like stuck in my nose from cuddling or so. And yeah, for Malik, he feels like in 2 years, 3 years time, we might want to get cheaper, and we might want to get cheaper with safety. And in that time, he could be quite a nice option to get cheaper with, or even like a year from now, if they don't feel like they want to play Tafwa Hufanga, or they just cannot pay. So he feels like a pick that you are preparing yourself to perhaps lose your starter, because you will be strapped with cap, and he's a value because I definitely had him like round earlier. So it's not necessarily a position that you are needing right now, but this is thinking down the line where, like, from fourth round forward, even for teams that are in immediate window, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely fine with that. Isaac Guerrero, and Jacob Cowing. I feel like for both of these guys, it's not necessarily the approach that I feel like they've done with Malik Mustafa. It's like not the best players on the board, but it's more of players that can contribute right now. And for all of them, for both of them, not all of them, they did not reach. It feels like they've picked up them in kind of right situation. With Jacob, like as of right now, I would give it B+, not an A, because this grade was made in in area when I was thinking, well, this is Debo, Johan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, and Jacob Cowing. It's not Brandon in the room. So as of right now, this pick is like feels much worse. Richard Kingston and Tatum Bethune, I really have nothing to say about these two guys. So we kind of bashed a little bit Kyle Shanahan. Let's talk about Kyle Shanahan in the most positive way. That's as a offensive guru, overseer of this offense. He gets that A+ from me. He is absolutely exceptional. Designing offense, scheming up. He found his guy in Brock Purdy, like in 7th round. He absolutely there's a question with Brock Purdy whether he's a system QB or, but a lot of people actually say no, he's the system. Like they are both the system. It feels like Kyle Shanahan just kind of controls Brock Purdy in a way, and he finally found a guy that is able to deliver exactly what Kyle wants him to do. Like that's one of the things that you have to give Kyle Shanahan, his ability to make Jimmy Garoppolo look really good, make Matt Ryan winning an MVP, make Brock Purdy 7th rounder into a guy that might get a bag in a year or two. Really great job, and it seems like he finally found a guy. And let's go to Brock Purdy, because the question is, what will you do with Brock Purdy in a year or two? Because he is playing really well. He definitely, similar to Jared Goff, he feels like perfect match that for what is out there for him, he can elevate that. It kind of matches perfectly the strength of that QB. But the question is, when you are going to pay this guy and you won't have the system around him and the players, because, well, some of them will need to go, can he deliver that? Can you count on him? And with Brock Purdy, I think there's a lot of concerns that he cannot. And yeah, I have them as well. As of right now, he would not be a guy that I would give a long-term, really big contract. If it's for him 4 years, 200 millions, I'm not giving that to him. And it's going to be an interesting situation, probably next offseason, when it's going to start to be talk. And to me, this could have two, or let's say 3 ways out of this. Way one is Brock Purdy, he only plays a season and a half kind of. So if he continues to play and improve kind of week by week as he kind of does, then we might talk that, yeah, he justifies to be paid. right? That could happen. Second thing is, I would say more likely is that he is going to be about like borderline top 10 QB in the league, and you will face the question, should we pay this guy? And with a lot of other guys getting paid here, it could be, well, we don't kind of have the money to do it. And then we are talking about, well, can you strong arm Brock Purdy into signing a low end of the deal? Because unlike with, for example, Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy is not set for life, right? Like those guys, at least because of their rookie contracts, they got, I don't know, 15 million. So you can live with that, right? Like, but with Brock Purdy, even if you get like a 4-year rookie enhanced type of a situation on his contract that he's going to get like 3.5 million instead of 1.5, he will earn like after taxes about 2 to 3 million. And it's like, well, I mean, it's not small amount of money, but still like probably doesn't necessarily secure for life. And you can say, well, Brock, look, we can give you 3 years, 100 millions. That will set you for life. That will allow us to have a great team around you. It should allow us to give you the weapons that make you look great. Let's face it, like you are really good, but without that cast, you are probably not an NFL starting QB, because it's hard to imagine that there was any other situation but this, that Brock Purdy would enter and like become what he became. Like, it's incredible, but I still like put him beyond pretty much anywhere else, and I'm struggling to see this career path for Brock Purdy. Well, continue with that. So 100 million, 3 years, 100 million. That will set you for life. It's not necessarily that we are like taking super advantage of you, because in 3 years, like in theory, you should still going to get better. You will have those weapons. You will have chance to win Super Bowls in those windows, because suddenly we are not paying you 50 million a year or 55. We are only paying you only 30. So we can have, like Debo next to rather than no Debo. That's kind of the difference here. And in those 3 years, well, there comes another huge contract if you deserve it. So I'm really looking forward to how this is going to break down, if they will try to pull it this hard, and if they are going to be prepared if Brock says, fuck you, like I will get better offers, probably true, from other teams in the league. I want to have more money, I'm going. If they are prepared to lose him and to say, well, let's be a team, kind of the first team that lets go of a guy that, they don't feel like is exceptional, but is really good. And let's find out another guy from the scratch that with the system around him, with so many weapons around him, he can be the guy because of the system, because of cash and because of the weapons, and he can be next Brock Purdy. So I'm really interested in this situation. I hope kind of, I don't, like I kind of hope we'll pay him the max 49ers, and it probably strong arms you for a long time to not be an exceptional team. Now, as a Seahawks fan, that's kind of my thinking. But to me, this is kind of not the best for both parties. It takes advantage of Brock Purdy's, like, let's say, financial situation and his outlooks. But I don't want to say like, is it really a difference if you are getting 150 or 100? Obviously, it's a difference, right? But in terms of securing for life, it's not a difference, right? Both of these secure for life. And you can get Super Bowl rings. You can, it might be like an investment in yourself, because if he goes, I don't know, let's say Jets at that point, I think his chance to get another great contract in the NFL will be much lower than if he stays for San Francisco. So even if he would took like, let's say 50 millions less, I would say overall his chances of earning more money would still probably be sticking with the 49ers. So that would kind of be my play as a GM here, and I would be ready to like really go and, if you want 50 million plus, we just cannot do it. Just doesn't feel right unless you've become really truly at least amazing starter, and I would be ready to lose him. But I would say to him, like, well, this is also my reasoning for you. Like, I'm really intrigued by this, and I wonder if this could be how someone starts to think about their QB situation, and like how the scheme and the players around you are lifting you up for sure, and because this contract will allow you to have these weapons, it will allow you to have Trent Williams or someone like that. It kind of gives you better chances even for your future. So it might not look like it, but it might be the better option for you in long term. So that's kind of my thinking. As a backup, they pick up Joshua Dobbs. I think he absolutely sits here well. He's just going to be a guy that will try to do whatever Kyle Shanahan will tell him to do. He's smart enough, though he is not a starter in the league. And if Brock Purdy goes down, I mean, you can win week or two, but even with this type of weapons, I think they would be fucked. So there's reasonable thing, like, it's not just these weapons that make Brock Purdy really good. He is a really good quarterback. Like, I don't want to sit here and bash him. Like, hell, I'd give him an important starter. If I thought that it was just the things around him, he would not be important starter in my opinion. So let me know down, like, what do you think? How do, like, you can say this might not be very nice humanly, and I was criticizing, Browns of taking advantage of injured Baker Mayfield, and that's the difference for me. Like, they didn't set him up for life, and they were using him as like fifth injury. This is an offer that like sets you for life, doesn't strong arm you for long. It's just 3 years. You get the money, and you have a really good chance of winning Super Bowls in that window, as well as getting another bag. But now let's talk about the guys that he has to work with, and we have to start with Christian McCaffrey, undoubtedly the best running back in the league. What is there to say about him? He is absolutely insane. 26 touchdowns last year. It combines catch touchdown and rushing touchdown, so it's not necessarily just rushing. The only thing that kind of is scary is that they lean on him like way too much. Like, it's kind of a miracle that he was able to hold on the entire season, and I kind of wish that they would be a little bit easier on him. And it's going to be hard because Elijah Mitchell, I think, went down for a prolonged time. Let me check on this one. Yeah, he's out for the season, so they're really not in the great position in terms of running backs, because behind him is Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero, and Patrick Taylor. So it might be again that Christian McCaffrey kind of plays 1,000 snaps, and that's a huge risk. Like, first of all, he might not be at his best in playoffs, and second of all, like, what's the chance that he's not gonna get injured with this workload? So yeah, like, I understand you are, you have problems with cap hit, but I mean, running backs are not that expensive. So, like, to me, how the hell are you not trading 5th round for Kyle Herbert is just beyond me. Like, let's fucking do it, Why? What are we waiting for? So this is one trade that I think that will actually happen sooner, hopefully sooner than later, if Kyle Herbert is buried on that running back depth chart with the signing of DeAndre Swift in Chicago. It just would make total sense for him to go here. Like, first of all, you get a chance to get a ring. Second of all, you will be seen, right? So yeah, to me, Kyle Herbert here, they should be coming for him. Like, I'm not super happy that Isaac Guerrero is my backup. Like, obviously. Maybe they will just say, well, fuck it, we trust that Christian McCaffrey can handle, 40 snaps every single game. I'm like, well, good luck to you guys. For me as a Seahawks fan, it's probably for my benefit. So, but as of GM, as a pretended GM of the Niners, this is what I'm doing for this podcast. I don't like this at all. Like, I think there are really nice options how you can secure the number 2 guy and have Christian to be at his best for playoffs, limit the injury risk. So not really happy. But as far as Christian as a player, like, he is on another level next to any running back behind him. Like, it's there might be some other elite starters as running backs, but CMC is the king. It's not like King Henry is still the king, but he's like king of kings. Yeah. Let's move towards wide receivers, and they kept both Debo and Brandon Ayuk. Like, what a freaking saga it was about Brandon Ayuk. I think like everybody's kind of tired of this at that point, so I'm not going to go into that. For them, it kind of means that Ricky Pearsall is kind of weird here, because I don't see him getting much of a playtime that you would hope that you are spending first round pick in your prime Super Bowl year for a guy that helps you immediately, which as of right now doesn't seem like it's going to be the case, so weird. But, this leaves you with easily one of the top 5 wide receiver room, with Juwan Jennings, like almost I would say for all of these guys, for all of these 3 guys, there can be argument that I have them ranked tier too low. I think for Debo and Brandon, if people are out there saying they are elite, I'm okay with that opinion. I don't think it's an outrageous opinion. To me, they are knocking on that tier. They are not necessarily there, but they are really close. And with Juwan Jennings, good starter, definitely. Like, I can see that. I think he's actually the closest. If I would have to pick from these 3, the guy that I'm most likely to give that next level, next grade, I think Juwan Jennings is there. He's really, really good for this offense and kind of forgettable piece, but trust me, they know how valuable he is for them. Then we talk about Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing as their backups. And as of right now, it's Chris Conley because of Ricky Pearsall's injury, running back. So there's, like, for what it's worth, like, you have now backups. That's kind of good. But like, that's not necessarily what you want when you invest first round and you want to win Super Bowl that year. But it doesn't stop there, because you have freaking George Kittle, and boy, I absolutely love this guy. Whoever watched receiver, like, I don't know, like, I've heard that for some George Kittle and his persona was not as much enjoyable as like they thought it would be. For me, it was like, yeah, I love this dude, I love his girlfriend, I love how they live their life. It just seems like a lot of fun, as well as a lot of professionalism. Like, he knows what he wants to be, and he does what like makes him great. I have like zero problem with anything he's doing pretty much, and he actually, for me, he became more of my guy in terms of, I'm rooting for him after that show. Well, behind him it's kind of like, not much. As of right now, they have Jake Tonges and Eric Sobert. They kind of could have Cameron too. It's like, they're probably second best island is Kyle Juszczyk, as their fullback. She's one of the few fullbacks in the league that actually, are legit players for their team. That's Kyle Juszczyk. We already talked about him, unfortunately not in a great way, but definitely a player that this offense, like similar to Juwan Jennings, though, like, I think Juwan Jennings is like more important and better player than Kyle Juszczyk is, though Kyle has more like watch time, partially because of his wife, which incredible one, living with in tune with this team. You could see some of the footages, like really, on human level, great people in from what I can see as an outsider, obviously. So this kind of ends really, like, you can pick your poison, and you have so many. You just as a defense, you probably don't have that many antidotes for all of these weapons: CMC, Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle, and then role players for this offense in Juwan Jennings and Kyle Juszczyk, and then you have your first round pick in Ricky Pearsall. So incredible, and it's no wonder that Brock Purdy works, but it's not only about those guys. Now the conversation goes a little bit south. Well, it actually goes a little bit north for just a quick second with Trent Williams, the best offensive lineman in football. I think he still is. They've managed to end his holdout. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays week 1, because he kind of comes back to the facilities I don't know, 3-4 days before the start of the season, after working out on his own the whole summer because he was holding out for the new contract. But they were able to figure it out. He's back. He might, get look rusty week 1, week 2, but he is still the guy, the guy with the crown. And then there's going really, 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 really far south from here, because there is not the guy with the rest of this offensive line that I'm happy to start. It starts with right tackle Colton McKivitz. I mean, he is somewhere between 28th to 35th best right tackle in the league. So the guy that you are really, really looking to replace, and seems like, well, you just cannot because of cap situation and because not necessarily they've hit on a lot of draft picks. So he's going to play. They don't have kind of answers. Chris Hubbard is kind of not even with the roster, so it's Brandon Parker and Jalen Moore as potential replacement for this guy. So he's going to play. That's where Trent Williams was kind of, I would say, confident that they will get it sorted out, because without him, this offensive line doesn't belong into NFL. Let's say it as it is. It doesn't. It's just not NFL quality offensive line without Trent Williams. So Colton McKivitz, the scary thing is he's kind of your best player, not named Trent Williams, on the O-line. It would have been John Feliciano as kind of really nice, not really nice, good enough right guard. It's a slight minus for your team, but you can live with John Feliciano. But he is on injury reserve and he will be there probably for a while because it's knee injury. So it's not certain whether he's going to miss the whole season, but he's definitely going to miss at least first month of the season. And that's a huge problem because he is literally the second best player on this O-line. So as of right now, it seems like they will start their third round Dominic Puni instead of him, which is well, good luck, because next to him it's Jake Brendel. It's kind of everything what I said about Colton McKivitz, and tune it down 5 to 10%, he's slightly worse. And then Aaron Banks is the same I talk about Brendel and McKivitz, and tune it down 20%. And that's the rest of your line, with Dominic Puni probably being the worst piece here. But it's the gap is not that high, but it says more about the rest of the guys in Aaron Banks and Jake Brendel and McKivitz rather than about Dominic Puni being really good. So this O-line is dreadful and excellent at the same time. They make it work. That's part of the credit that doesn't necessarily go to Brock Purdy. That everybody just points out to the weapons, but not many people say there's a B, and that's and if they talk about online, it's you have Trent Williams, best left tackle in the football. Well, yeah, but then I have a bunch of these dudes, and for a lot of stuff they can scheme around them, but eventually sometimes you have to draw back. It's really hard behind this offensive line. So my ranking of them is a C-. In terms of pass blocking, they are worse than in-run blocking. Some would say that even D is kind of generous for them. I'm it's kind of hard for me to put anything worse than D when you have Trent Williams as your left tackle. So that's only that holds it. I say, if this doesn't have Trent Williams and it's Jalen Moore starting, I'm this is rare F. That would be F. You failed your O-line. And again, it's nothing personal against you guys. I'm rooting for you. Let's be the best version of what you are. Unfortunately, that's really a replaceable level of O-lineman as of right now for your careers in NFL. But that was the offense. Let's now figure out the defense, and starts with new defensive coordinator in Nick Sorensen. As of right now, they will also have a co-defensive coach / coordinator, whatever, in Brandon Staley. And I kind of like that hire, and it's kind of similar to why I like Arthur Smith, why I like Defensive coordinator for the Commanders. I mean, come on. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. I know it was someone from that. Sorry. So Cliff Kingsbury, and the case is like they've absolutely like burned out as like nobody is hiring them as head coaches. Like in next 3 years, no one in the right state of mind writes to Brandon Staley, hey, let's come be head coach after what happened with Chargers. Like 3 years at minimum, even if like from moment this defense steps on the field, they are the best in the league. Nobody calls and wants Brandon Staley back. Like for that, I really like this. I think hiring Brandon Staley actually makes this more of a C, because for all of his shortcomings and for really poor defense that he put with Chargers, like I still think it was more that he could not handle the head coaching pressure and kind of could not match both of these roles together. And here he will have just to focus on this side of the ball. So with him, I would say this room is a C, though like why he got head coaching opportunities, because he was supposed to be a really great defensive coach. So like I'm knocking him down for the absolutely atrocious defense that he's done with the Chargers, but I think we will see much better version of Brandon Staley here. And Nick Sorensen is a good compliment towards that. He like as on his own he would get C-, which is like for first time defensive coordinator is actually not that bad with in my rankings. So let's check the talent that they have to work with here, and it starts with Nick Bosa, one of the best, one of the premiums. You know, it runs with the family, and like, can he get any better? Like I hope not. Like as a Seahawks fan, I hope not, and I kind of feel like no, he is already at such a high level that I just like the similar with him and Myles Garrett and Max Crosby. Like there's one guy like from that tier that I feel like can still improve. That's Micah Parsons, but for what he is, it's like one of the best players, position less. Like when you put position out of it, one of the best players in the league. Like what was the NFL top 100? Just out of curiosity, how was he ranked there? 27. Wow, that's a lot lower than I thought. Interesting. I mean, it doesn't tell the whole story, right? But yeah, he's definitely better than 27 best player in the league. That's when you put position out of the question. Well, he's just excellent. Like let's go down the pecking order, and he kind of needs to be excellent because the rest of this edge group, they were hoping that Chase Young could be a really cheap answer for half of the season, and he was kind of meh here, so they let him go. Kind of did not follow up on their university connection with Nick Bosa. And you have Leonard Floyd, Etus Gross-Matos, and Drake Jackson here, and it's like, well, we kind of know the approach is here. Like on one side, we will have Nick Bosa, and he's gonna be an absolute monster. And on the other side, we want to have depth, and we want to have decent enough quality. And that's what these guys are. Like neither of them, in my opinion, should be or like is great number 2 for like elite edge groups, but for like they are good enough. They are pretty much two number 3 pieces in Gross-Matos and Floyd, and kind of number 4 in Drake Jackson that I know still can develop. It's good. Like I get it how they build it up. Like you have to have you cannot always have every position stacked up, and if your second edge behind Nick Bosa is not up to the best standards of second edges in the league, well, you can live with that. Like San Francisco, don't be greedy. You cannot have it all. Now let's go inside. And they've lost Eric Armstead here. And it's a loss, for sure. Like they replace him kind of with Malik Collins. And that's stepping up like 2 tiers. So stepping down 2 tiers. So it's a loss. But it's still like Malik Collins does not give you that much of is he going to be healthy? Like he should come with better chance to play all 17 games than Eric Armstead does. And as well, you need to get slightly cheaper, which like this is kind of always the move that you need to do eventually. like, yeah, we need to get cheaper at some positions, and they've signed up really good replacement in my colleagues, like getting a good starter here next to Javon Hargrave, who is your main interior guy. Yeah, you absolutely love that. Like, one problem that this group kind of has is like there's not like a really great backup for these two guys, so they kind of need to stay healthy, and both of them are much better pass rushers than they are run defenders. So even Nick Bosa, like, he can do some work, but first of all, it's only some things that you can do from an edge perspective, and second, yeah, he's not exceptional at that point of the game. And that's where you have to count on Fred freaking Warner to, kind of, the shortcomings of the defensive line is running game, like defending the run, and then you have probably the best run defender in terms of linebackers, and arguably the best overall linebacker in the league in Fred Warner. Like I said, him or Roquan, you can pick your poison. I would, like, if you give me a choice, I would probably go for Fred Warner, but this is Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. Like, either of these two guys, I have no problems if you pick one over the other. I just say, let's put them in that creme de la creme category and enjoy how they play, because they are exceptional. And Fred Warner, I mean, what do you say to this guy? Like, I mean, how? Like, the only thing that I want to say is, like, come on, leave San Francisco. Like, leave me alone. I want to enjoy Seattle. Like, leave me alone. Like, you are already really good offensively. Like, you don't need Fred Warner here. Please, like, go somewhere else. Get out of my division. And it's not going to happen. He's signed for next 3 years, so yeah. But, like, do this, absolute beast. Like. And the funny thing is, like, this is one of the best linebacker rooms overall, and easily the best one if Dre Greenlaw is healthy. As of right now, he is not. It's most likely that he is going to come back sometime during October. They will probably, like, ease him up into it, so he should really be half a season of Dre Greenlaw, and that's, like, kind of okay for them, because, well, for once they should be going into playoffs with or without Dre Greenlaw, and for two, he should be absolutely ready for the playoffs. And with him, this is easily the best linebacker group in the league. And even without him, there's a point to be made that even with Devon Campbell next to Fred Warner, you are talking about one of the best linebacker rooms in the league, because Devon Campbell is actually a nice player for what he is. Like, he is on downwards trajectory. I kind of jumped the gun on him and put him on decent starter category. Like, he is one of those guys that is between decent and good, and I definitely don't see him, would not expect him to move up, but, like, he has a long way down before he's just a good backup, so he is quite good. And I would say for 5 of the teams out there, he would be their best linebacker. So, and he's kind of the third best when Dre Greenlaw is back. Now let's talk about secondary. We start with safeties, and we kind of don't know what Talanoa Hufanga is going to be post-injury. It's hard for me to say I like this player, because he plays for 49ers, but that's one part for me as a Seahawks fan that's kind of annoying about 49ers, that yeah, I am supposed to hate them, as a rivalry, but I kind of like their players, so that's a problem, and I like Hufanga a lot. The only question is, like, can he come back to what he was before the injury, which I think was an important starter. I'm gonna watch this. He definitely has a potential to get knocked towards just a good starter category, but we will see about him. And then you have J.R. Brown, who stepped up last season, really showed that he can play, that he is a player worth starting in NFL. And if Hufanga actually turns the narrative around and improves, and as he was doing, like, previous to the injury, we might be talking about perhaps even amazing good starter combination for safeties. Behind them you have George Odom, kind of a guy that you hope is not going to play, but if he does, it's not like you are sweating like a pig. He should get the job done. But you don't want him to start for a couple of games. It's preferably it's just one game, and that's it. So it's kind of like nice room, nothing special, but kind of nice. And it has potential to be an asset. As of right now, it's not. It's just like, good. But it can be an asset for the 49ers. And now we go towards corners. And they have a lot of depth here. And we start with Ronaldo Green, Isaac Yiadom, and Malik Mustafa. They low-key invested heavily into this group to have really a lot of backups. So from this, they actually let go now. Let me check. So they are supposed to start Charvarius Ward and Isaac Yiadom and obviously Ronaldo Green. But what's going on with Diamond Lenoir? Is he down? What happened? Let me check on this. Am I blind? Like, when I'm checking the ESPN depth chart, he's not on that. But he should not be injured. He should be active, so it kind of feels like they have something missing. Let me check on other sides, because this is just weird. I think he should be a starter here. Yeah, so it's just ESPN glitch, or it's ESPN glitch. So they have 3 starters as of right now, listed as Isaac Yiadom, Charvarius Ward, and Diamond Lenoir, which is really nice, really nice room. You know, Isaac Yiadom is actually quite a low-key nice signing. They signed him for cheap, and he is their starter right now, but you kind of have really a lot of luxury when you have Ronaldo Green, Ambry Thomas, and like Malik Mustafa just waiting. Malik is obviously for safety role, but Ronaldo Green and Ambry Thomas, and even Ambry Thomas, like kind of waiting in the wind, and especially with Ronaldo Green, it's probably a question of when rather than if. And like in case you are not liking what you see with him, like Yiadom can get the job done, and if so, here's the bigger upside guy in the green. So really well constructed group. You have your number 1 guy that you are absolutely really happy to go against pretty much any corner in the league. Next to him, Diamond Lenoir, one of the better number 2s, and Isaac Yiadom, quite a good like last piece of that trio. So definitely an asset for this team. Let's quickly talk about their floor, their upside, and how they are suited up to win Super Bowls. Well, they are suited up quite well. I think for this year and the year after, this is their window. Then the money will start to hit, and they will face really difficult decision about Brock Purdy. So yeah, they are like similar to Lions. That this feel like the primary window, because before the cap hit starts to stack up, that you just cannot do it in like a normal way to push them down the line, unless you are doing it the Saints way, and that does not necessarily work to the best. In terms of floor, it has to be a 10-win team. Like if Trent Williams was still holding out, I would go lower with the floor, because that line could be like insane problem. But with him, it's 10-win team at worst. Like the division is not easy, but it's not the hardest one, and they are just really freaking good. In terms of upside, I would go with 13 wins. Like we kind of know a lot of pieces are just like, we kind of know what they are. It's not like there is any super like several positions that you have huge upside guys that, you know, if they hit, that this is a total nightmare for other. You kind of know what your O-line is. It's maxed out. It's not like you have, you know, huge question marks there. You know they are bad in a way. So yeah, I think 13 wins. It's just, you know, how those 60-40 games will turn up, and I think between 10 or 13 wins. And like Super Bowl is definitely in their eyesight. Like they are favorites for a reason. One of the favorites. At some books they are even the biggest favorites, and you can say justifiably so. Like perhaps one. But no, I would not even say that like Brock Purdy is like a question mark, or like I don't think he just doesn't have the arm strength to be an absolute elite guy. Like there will always be some throws that just aren't there for him, and I think that will separate him in the end of the day, like from those true elite guys. Even if he steps up everything else, he won't be elite. So I just don't see that as a projector, because if that could happen, like insert Patrick Mahomes on this team, you probably are talking about more than 13 wins as your ceiling. It's just that. But you cannot. Like, it doesn't work that way. So thank you very much for listening. That was your 49ers. It sucks that it's a really good conversation about them, because, you know, as a Seahawks fan, I want to win the division. I want to be great, and this team is just better than us as of right now. But let's just beat them up, okay? Thank you guys for watching. See you with the next one. Bye bye.